They tried to destroy my career without realizing I was the one signing their paychecks. Stay with me, because what began as betrayal ends as the ultimate power move. And if you love quiet revenge and unstoppable success, don't forget to subscribe. Money can't buy happiness, but it can bankroll the perfect revenge, especially when your own family has no idea you're sitting on a $500 million fortune. I learned that lesson last month, when my parents and brother tried to sabotage my career, unaware they were targeting the owner of the company itself. My name is Melissa Tran, Mel. In most boardrooms, officially, I'm the newly appointed Chief Strategy Officer at Everland Dynamics, a cutting-edge biotech firm in Seattle. What my family doesn't know is that 2 months ago, I quietly became its majority owner, acquiring controlling shares through a private trust and a series of discrete transactions. This didn't happen overnight. 18 years ago, I was a quiet scholarship kid studying biomedical engineering at Georgia Tech, while I balanced lab work, tutoring, and coding side gigs just to stay afloat. My younger brother Ryan breezed through Stanford on our parents' dime. Ryan needs support, my mother always said. You've always been so independent, Mel. Independent was an understatement. Ryan spent summers in Europe, posting yacht photos and wine tastings online. I spent mine sleeping 4 hours a night, chasing a future no one in my family believed in. But I stayed focused, patient. I knew the payoff would come. And it did. By 30, I'd founded and sold 2 biotech startups. I kept my name out of the press, routed profits through holding companies, and let the world assume I was just another mid-level executive grinding quietly. I stayed invisible on purpose. Because I'd seen what money did to my family. They idolized Ryan's stable corporate sales job and dismissed my work as risky experimentation. You should talk to Ryan, my mom would say at dinner. He understands real business. So I let them think I needed help. While they underestimated me, I executed my real move, a stealth acquisition of Everland Dynamics, the very company where I'd been working quietly for just over a year. It was undervalued, rich with potential, using layered entities and trusts. I took control without a single person realizing it was me. When the board named me CSO, they believed they were promoting a loyal strategist. They had no idea they'd just handed a seat to the owner. Ryan's reaction was priceless. Must be nice to finally catch a break, he said with a smirk at our monthly family dinner. Just don't get in over your head. Corporate leadership isn't the same as tinkering with science projects. Mom and Dad exchanged worried glances. Maybe Ryan could mentor you, my mother added. He's been managing teams for years. I smiled, calm and polite, thinking of the acquisition documents locked in my home safe. I'll keep that in mind. But Ryan couldn't let it go. My promotion shattered the family hierarchy. He was supposed to be the golden one. I was supposed to stay small. First, he started showing up at Everland Dynamics, casual lunches with department heads, friendly conversations with senior staff. From my office window, I watched him joke, probe, and plant doubts about his overwhelmed sister. Then came the anonymous HR complaints. Fake accusations, inflated credentials, whispers of misconduct. Baseless, but deliberate. I'm just worried about you, Ryan said when I confronted him. You know how tech companies are, promoting women too fast, diversity optics and all. I'd hate for you to crash in public. I let him keep going. Yesterday, he crossed the line. A sealed envelope arrived at the board, filled with forged bank statements, altered emails, and a neatly constructed timeline portraying me as a criminal. Embezzlement, insider trading, fraud. It was impressive in its cruelty. The board scheduled an emergency meeting for Friday morning. Ryan found out quickly. At dinner that night, he could barely contain himself. The board asked me to attend tomorrow, he announced. Sounds like there's going to be a big change at the top. My parents beamed, never once asking why I wasn't invited to a meeting about my own role. What they don't know is that I spent the night assembling my own dossier. Every lie, every manipulation, every falsified document, tracked, time-stamped, and traced back to its source. And this time, I'm revealing Everland Dynamics' real ownership structure. I should be furious, hurt, devastated that my own family RSVP'd to my professional execution. Instead, I feel calm. Ryan handed me the perfect stage, the chance to confront not just his betrayal, but a lifetime of being underestimated. Sometimes the best revenge is letting people believe they've already won. The board meeting is set for 9 a.m. sharp. My family will arrive expecting my downfall. Instead, they're about to learn why you never bet against the quiet one in the room, especially when she owns the table. Friday morning, I arrived early, just in time to enjoy the show. At 8:45 a.m., Ryan strode into the lobby in his sharpest suit. Mom and Dad followed, dressed for a victory they didn't earn. "Is the board ready for us?" Ryan asked the receptionist, practically glowing. From my office upstairs, I watched them escorted into the executive conference room. The board followed moments later, somber, silent, exactly as planned. The curtain was up. And this time, I was ready. Everyone had received my private message the night before. At exactly 9 a.m., I pushed back my chair, inhaled once, and stepped into the hallway. Time to begin. Marcus Chen, our board chair, was mid-sentence when I entered. "These allegations against Ms. Tran are extremely serious. Apologies for the delay," I said lightly, taking my seat. Ryan's head snapped up. The smug confidence on his face faltered, confusion flashing beneath it. "Mel, this is a closed session," he said quickly, eyes darting to the directors. "You weren't invited." I folded my hands on the table, calm, centered. "Actually, I was," I said. "It's difficult to hold a board meeting without the company's owner." Silence slammed into the room. Ryan's mouth fell open. My mother blinked. Once, twice. My father stiffened, his face draining of color. "What are you talking about?" Ryan demanded. "Everland Dynamics is owned by shareholders. It's a public company," he added, grasping for certainty. "Correction," I said, nodding to my assistant. Isla stepped forward, distributing folders around the table. Everland Dynamics was a public company until 2 months ago, when it was quietly acquired by Trans Strategic Holdings. I met Ryan's eyes. "Care to guess who controls that entity?" Pages flipped, breaths caught. Several directors froze mid-motion as understanding rippled across the room. They'd all wondered who the private trust behind the buyout belonged to. Now they knew. "This is insane," Ryan stammered. You can't afford, you're just a lab geek, a coder." I smiled slightly. "Yes, you've been very consistent about that." I turned to Isla. "Please play the recordings." She tapped her tablet. Ryan's voice filled the room, smooth, false, familiar. "Between us, Melissa isn't leadership material. Brilliant, sure, but she'll crash in a role like this." Another clip followed. "Has anyone noticed irregularities in her department's finances? Might be worth digging into." Whisper after whisper, manipulation layered with concern, every move documented, every lie preserved. Ryan sank back in his chair, color draining from his face. "And then there's this," I said, lifting the envelope he'd sent to the board. "Forged bank statements, altered emails, a fabricated timeline designed to portray criminal conduct." I held his gaze. "Did you really believe no one would verify any of it?" "I was protecting the company," he said hoarsely. "You're not qualified. You've never been the one who wins. You don't deserve this." My voice stayed steady. "No, Ryan, I'm the one exposing you for corporate espionage, deliberate manipulation of board perception, and knowingly placing Everland Dynamics at legal risk." My mother finally spoke. "You wouldn't destroy your own brother's life." I turned to her. "Like he didn't try to destroy mine? Like you didn't show up today expecting to watch it happen?" My father raised his hand weakly. "We were just supporting Ryan." "No," I said flatly. "You were doing what you've always done, betting on the wrong person." I rose and faced the board. "I apologize for the theatrics," I said, "but it was essential that everyone understand the nature of Mr. Transactions. His conduct represents a serious breach of ethics and exposes this company to regulatory and legal consequences." I let the silence settle. Marcus Chin cleared his throat. "What would you like the board to do, Ms. Tran?" I sat back down. "First, I want it formally recorded that all allegations against me have been reviewed and dismissed as entirely unfounded." Second, I request a comprehensive report be sent to Mr. Tran's employer, including the audio recordings, falsified evidence, and documentation of attempted corporate sabotage. I looked at Ryan one final time. This should follow him. You can't, Ryan said, his voice breaking. You'll destroy my career. Like you tried to destroy mine? I replied, my tone calm but unyielding. The difference is that I have real documents tracing real actions, not the forged trash you sent, hoping no one would look too closely. I turned back to the board. Lastly, I want it formally recorded that Ryan Tran, and both of our parents, are permanently banned from Everland Dynamics property. Any attempt to contact staff or interfere with operations will trigger immediate legal action. Mel, please, my mother sobbed, mascara streaking down her cheeks. We're family. I let out a short, humorless laugh. Family supports you. Family celebrates your wins. Family doesn't forge documents and spread lies because they can't stand your success. Then I reached for one final folder, my last card. This, I said, sliding it across the table, is the acquisition agreement for my first biotech company, sold for $50 million when I was 27. My second sold 2 years later for $180 million. I glanced at my father. I could have paid for that golf club membership you wanted, could have funded every luxury trip you showered on Ryan like trophies, but I didn't. They stared at the figures, numbers that shattered every story they'd told themselves about me. I stayed quiet because I wanted to see who would stand beside me when they thought I had nothing. I said evenly, you all failed that test. Ryan had gone completely pale. You're firing me, he whispered. No, I said softly, your actions did that, just like you tried to do to me. The only difference is, you actually committed the offenses. I stood, gathering my papers. This meeting is adjourned, I said. Marcus, please ensure all documentation is formally filed. Then I faced them. Ryan, Mom, Dad, security will escort you out. Wait, Ryan called as I reached the door. Please, I'm sorry, I was jealous. I couldn't handle that you were finally doing better than me. His voice cracked. We can fix this, we're still family. I turned back one last time. Do you know the difference between us, Ryan? He looked up, eyes wet. When you thought I was failing, you pushed me down harder. When I was succeeding, I stayed quiet so you wouldn't feel small. I exhaled slowly. That's the difference between real success and the game you were playing. The weeks that followed were revealing. Ryan lost his job almost immediately. Once his employer reviewed the evidence, there was no hesitation. News of my role at Everland Dynamics leaked, and suddenly the same country club crowd that had once worshipped my brother wanted meetings with me. My parents left tearful voicemails. Ryan sent handwritten apologies. Even his therapist mailed a letter explaining he was doing the work. I archived them all without responding. 3 months later, I was working late when Leela buzzed my office. There's someone here to see you, she said. Says it's personal. It was Ryan, but not the version I'd grown up with. He looked thinner, older, no designer watch, no tailored blazer, just a plain button-down and a manila envelope. I won't stay, he said quickly. I just need to say something. He placed the envelope on my desk. Passwords, contacts, everything I collected while trying to hurt you. I'm also sending a full confession to the board and my former employer. I watched him quietly. Why now? I asked. Because you were right, he said. I wasn't building anything real. You were, and I hated you for it. He turned to leave, then hesitated. I'm starting over. Entry-level role. No shortcuts. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know, letting me fail taught me more than our parents ever did by helping me cheat. As he reached the door, I spoke. Ryan. He turned back, hope flickering. Send me your resume in a year, I said gently. Not for leadership, but if you're serious about earning things the right way. We value people who work their way up. A single tear slipped down his face. He nodded and left without another word. 6 months later, Everland Dynamics has exceeded even my most optimistic projections. We're developing life-changing biotech solutions, expanding rapidly, and creating hundreds of new jobs across the Pacific Northwest. Something real, Something lasting. My parents still message occasionally, usually when they want something, or want to mention their CEO daughter at a dinner party. I keep things polite, distant. The approval I once chased? I don't need it anymore. The corner office they said I'd never earn has a clear view of the Seattle skyline. Some evenings, I watch the sun set behind the mountains and think about ambition, family, and the strange power of being underestimated. Last week, I received a holiday card from Ryan. No guilt, no request, just a note. You succeeded not because of us, but despite us. I'm learning to do the same. Maybe that's the real revenge, quiet, earned, undeniable. Thank you for listening to my story, for seeing me when so many people I loved couldn't. Now I'd love to hear yours. Would you have stayed silent, fought back sooner? Or maybe you've lived this, been the quiet one, the underestimated one, building in the shadows while others took the spotlight. Let this be more than a story. Let it be a reminder, you don't need loud applause to prove your worth. Sometimes quiet resilience is the loudest strength of all. And if you're on your own journey right now, working late, being overlooked, keep going, keep building. Let your success speak. Because success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you were right to believe. So what's your story? I'm listening.